Hello, me lovelies. Well, I've just been to see Flow, the animated film, about a cat during what is like a biblical flood. And it gets together with a secretary bird, a dog, a capybara. Is that how you pronounce this? One of those big rat like things. And a lemur to work together to try and survive this massive flood that happens. Now, when I went to see it, I that's all I knew, that it was about a cat that was caught up in a flood and it gets on a boat. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything else. So went with my friend who didn't know about her either, and we didn't even know that there was no speaking in it. Now I've got to warn you, this film cannot be discussed without giving out spoilers. You just have to give spoilers when talking about it. Now, I don't like doing that when I do reviews. So, if you go and see it and you don't want the spoilers, just don't listen to anyone talking about it on YouTube, because you can't discuss it without giving out spoilers, because it's a film that makes you think and comes with messages. Well, at first I thought, oh, this is a pretty film, the animation's lovely. But it just came across as a cutesy film about animals coming together and working in a way that they never would in reality to help each other. And I quickly started getting bored with it. I thought, oh, is this what's going to be? That they're in this boat doing things that animals couldn't do. Like they're even, some of them are steering the boat, taking turns steering the boat at times. I thought, oh, that's not going to happen in real life. So I was losing interest in it, other than it was a beautiful looking film. But then one scene happened, and this is what I mean, that you can't discuss it without giving out spoilers. One of the animals, won't say which one, goes up to the top of this mountain, and the cat follows it. And all that I can say is one of the most beautiful, stunning animated scenes I have ever seen in any film. It's gorgeous and so moving. This animal dies and is taken up into the light, going to heaven presumably. The cat nearly goes with it, but manages to drop down. Then my interest peaked again. I thought, oh, here we are, this has got a message, this has got something to it. The cat returns to its friends on the boat, they start working together again. And then strange things happen, it ends suddenly. The ending came by a surprise. There's this whale that appears a couple of times in the film. Strange looking whale I've ever seen. Weird looking thing. And at one point it saves the cat's life. Well, the flood recedes, very quickly recedes and disappears, so they're left with dry land. And the cat comes across the whale, and the whale is dying because it's on dry land, there's no water. And the cat is trying to comfort this whale. It's a touching part, and you hear this whale breathing. And then you see these deer rushing past. Just to clarify, the deer is seen just before the cat finds the whale, not after. Now remember that the deer, I'll mention again, because there's something significant about them. And the film ends with all the animals, the cat making the animals, leading them to a pool of water as the whale is dying, and looking out into the water, and you see the mountain in the background. Now I thought that can't be the end of it as the credits come up, and you have to stay to the end of the credits, which I knew there was something coming. And at the end of the credits, you suddenly see the whale swimming in water. It's alive. Now, I was discussing it with my friend when it ended. I said, when they looked in the water, they were dead. The cat was telling them that they were all dead, because you could see this mountain where the other animal had died. So it's either saying that, and that the end bit with the after the credits was the whale in heaven swimming around, or it was more or less symbolic that they were going to die at some point, but there was nothing to worry about because the cat was trying to say to them, you'll survive on anyway, even though your body dies. So I came back home, but one thing, do you remember I mentioned the deer? What kept on troubling me was the deer. I knew there was something significant about these deer running past, because the flood starts at the beginning with these deer running past, and then the flood starts. Then at the end, they come again. And at one point, the cat has a dream about these deer surrounding it, and it's terrified. And so I looked on YouTube, and someone came up with a very interesting theory, and it seemed to almost, not quite bring all the pieces of the puzzle together. What it said was that actually what happened was the deer represented or were symbolic of the impending deluge that was coming, the water, the flood. So when the cat saw these deer running past, it knew another flood was coming. They no longer had the boat to jump on to stop themselves drowning. So the cat actually looked in the water to reassure them all that the flood was coming. They were going to die, but with the mountain there, the cat knew from what it had seen that the death of the physical wasn't the end. They were going to carry on. And it wasn't that at the end of the credits, the whale swimming was the whale in heaven. The whale was the only one that survived. When the flood came again, they all died, which is very sad, very, very sad. But the only thing that jars with that is that you hear the whale breathing and then it stops breathing as they're looking into the pool of water. So you think, is that right or not? Or is it just that, as I thought, they're looking into the pool of water because the cat's trying to tell them this isn't the end, death is not the end, or do they actually die? Which does make sense that that's symbolic. They're going to die. The flood is coming. There's no way they're going to survive at this time. Is it worth seeing? Definitely. I say I only got bored with it because I didn't know what the hell it was about. I didn't have a clue. So it just started boring me all the way through because there's no talking, as I say. But definitely a thought-provoking film that will stay with you. And I knew, because I was saying to me friend as we were coming out of him, I said, I was bored at one point, but I said, I know that film is going to stay with me and will stay with a lot of people because I said there's some message in there. But that's my review of Flow. Is it worth seeing? Definitely it's worth seeing. Definitely 100% worth seeing. So I'll leave that, lovelies, until next time.